Term grades, grading recommendations for end of semester grading. This video was created in collaboration with district and building level leaders as well as teacher leaders in standards-based grading. Thank you to all who contributed thoughts, ideas, and feedback toward this shared resource. Today, we're here to refresh and update you on how to use Skyward for entering grades with a focus on making the process clear and efficient for both middle and high school teachers. Let's dive into the best practices for grading at the end of a term. In this video, you'll see examples for quarter 2 and semester 1, but these could easily also apply in the end of the school year when you are grading quarter 4 or semester 2. If you're new to this process, don't worry, we'll walk you through step by step, building on what's been covered previously. We understand that different departments might use different terminology for Skyward. For the purposes of this video, we've used Skyward's terms: subject, which generally refers to the standard, and skill, which often aligns with ICANN statements. Whether or not your content area is using a word like theme or strand to describe standards, the subject is always referring to the essential standard. You may also recognize this as the same terminology that Skyward uses in the drop-downs when you're creating events. For the majority of secondary classes, you'll grade in the semester column for each skill. This column will show all events tied to that skill over the course of the semester, making it easier to assess student progress. For those teaching a middle school quarter class, such as art, make sure to grade using the quarter column instead, reflecting the length of your course. Using the semester grade gives families and students a clear picture of where the student stands based on their progress so far. It also allows Skyward to display evidence from both quarter 1 and quarter 2, helping you determine the semester grade. Some classes have units that build on each other, while others focus on different skills and standards independently across various units throughout the year. The semester grade helps teachers of all courses reflect on overall progress and report it accurately. The most important thing is to ensure that your grading process, the way in which you as an individual teacher determine what the grades will be at the end of each quarter and semester, is clear and shared with your families and students. If you have questions about how to arrive at a letter grade, talk with your PLC, content coordinator, learning lab leader, or principal, as this may look different for different subject areas depending on how each course is structured. Regardless of the course you teach, there are 3 grades that must be posted: the subject proficiency, the overall letter grade, and the habits of mind. Entering skill grades is always a best practice. It shows where students are with each skill, creates a smooth flow in Skyward for entering subject and letter grades, and provides a detailed breakdown on the final grade for students and families. It may be your best friend when interpreting what grade a student has earned up to a certain point in time. Let's take a look at 3 steps to grading success. First, you will assess each skill or ICANN based on specific events in Skyward. As you enter your skill grade, Skyward will display all events tied to that skill across the grading period. This will make it easy for you to assess the growth that the student has had with that particular skill throughout the grading period. When you finish assessing their skill grades, you can move on to subject, where you will see each one of their skills listed so that you can take them into consideration when developing their subject grade. Finally, when you enter the final letter grade, you will be able to see both their subject and skill grades to develop a fair and meaningful final letter grade. While there are many ways to use the Skyward gradebook, as a district we have found this process to be the most effective for entering grades throughout the year, ensuring consistency for families and students. Remember to weigh recent work more heavily. This aligns to best practices in standards-based grading, and if you're unsure about any step, the district recommends following the method that we've outlined today. After entering your final letter grade, you will need to post the students' habits of mind scores and any comments that you need to add. Let's talk about assessing skills, or ICANNs, based on events in Skyward. Are you wondering if it's okay to leave a skill grade blank? It is best practice to always assess skills. The focus is on sharing the grades on the skills that you have enough evidence to assess based on teacher and student readiness. The goal is to grade each one by the end of the course. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of grading your skills, it may be helpful for you and content area peers to either reconsider the number of events per skill, using only the 3 to 5 that are required, or assess the number of skills listed to allow time for entry of overall skill grades. Let's look at entering skills in Skyward. First, depending on what view you're currently using, you may need to switch your view by going to Display Options, then clicking View Skills by Student. This will make it so that you see each one of your students listed on the left-hand side. The students' names have been blocked out for this recording, but right here is where you would see their name listed. Next, you can see the subjects and the skills listed down the left-hand side, followed by the next student. For most grading purposes, we will click into the Semester 1 grading column, but again, if you teach a middle school quarter-long course, you'll use the quarter column instead. First, it's important to click into the skill box so that you can enter a grade for the skill. Here you can see the skill grade you gave the student in quarter 1, along with any events tied to that skill during this current quarter. This should help you make an informed decision about where the student is with that skill. Again, remembering to weigh the most recent events a little bit more heavily. If you know that this is a skill that most of your students have mastered, you could go to Mass Assign and Mass Assign Proficient. Then, look at each student individually and change any that have not yet mastered the skill. To make entering skill grades even easier, you can click the Next button after finishing grading one category, and it will take you to the next skill. This makes it quick and easy to go through all of your skills, one after another. And remember, you only need to assess skills that have enough evidence to support a grade, with the goal being to assess each skill by the end of the course. Next, let's look at assessing each subject based on the grade you've entered for the skills. Now that you've entered your skill grades, it's time to go in and enter your subject grades. First, click into the subject box and you will notice that you will see the skill grades that have already been assigned to your students. This will help you in determining where they're at with each one of the subjects. After considering your skill grades, enter in your subject grade for each student. Again, to make the process of entering subject grades a little faster, you can click the Next button to go from one subject to the next and get each one graded. Let's move on to entering final letter grades. After grading your skills and subjects, it's time to enter the letter grade. The fastest route to do this is to go into Quick Grading. Click Quick Grading in the upper toolbar. When Quick Grading loads, you will see that you have a space to now enter the letter grade for the semester. Consider where your student is at with each of the subjects, then assign a letter grade associated with the term. Continue entering those letter grades for each student, then click Save. Last, enter Habits of Mind scores under Post Grades. First, in the upper toolbar, click on Post Grades. Then, on the Post Grades page, click on the current term where it says Post Grades. Next, you will enter grades for each one of the habits of mind. One quick and easy way to do this is to go in and enter any student who has not met a 3 for habits of mind. After you've assigned each student who has not gotten a 3, you can go back up to the top and use the drop-down arrow to mass assign a 3 for the rest. When you click the drop-down arrow and select the 3, you will see that it gives every other student a 3. As a reminder, this is also where you will enter your comment codes. If you need to view them, click on View Comment Codes. You will see a list that looks like this, and you can enter the number that corresponds with a comment to add that comment for your student. If you have students who are receiving special education services and are using alternative assessments or having work and tests modified, you need to make sure to enter the comment code that is associated with what is happening in the classroom so that it is accurately represented on the report card. When you're finished entering all comments and comment codes, be sure to click Save. Let's wrap up with a few last reminders. Averages should never be used in standards-based grading, and you should rely heavily on most recent events. If you're stuck between 2 grades, considering the mode or median would be a better choice. If you run into trouble, talk to a trusted colleague, a learning lab leader, your principal, or someone at the district level to help you answer your questions. Finally, we wanted to give a huge thank you to our learning lab leaders for their continued work with standards-based grading and helping teachers implement it throughout our district. Also, a huge thank you to Kim Novak for all of her assistance with recording portions of this video. Thank you as always for the important work that you do.